speak about my journey with Crohn's. So everything started when I was about 11 or 12 years old. I would get uncomfortable after eating oats and grains, but not bad enough to see a doctor. The first year of these symptoms, I would get very bloated and have pain. I also start to have some skin issues such as eczema, and my eyes would get inflamed. So because of the inflammation I had, so I had some vision problems at that time. I would also normally get sick around 30 minutes after eating a meal. And then when it came to the second year, the funny thing is that I wasn't in pain, but I had really bad diarrhea and I had intestinal bleeding. My calprotectin inflammation level was 1040. After a while of developing the symptoms that my mom recognized, and she has ulcerative colitis, she took me to see my pediatrician and insisted on getting some tests done. The process took about 2 years because I couldn't find the right doctor, but until I found the right GI, she ordered several tests. I had a calprotectin test. It came back very high. I also had a colonoscopy, endoscopy, and CT scan. I was very lucky to meet this amazing GI doctor because she gave me like multiple options for my treatment and she let me decide what I wanted to do. Um, yeah, my parents didn't want me to start taking medication unless it was absolutely necessary because I had a lot of family members that have IBD or GI issues and got bad medication side effects. So my parents asked the doctor if there was a more natural approach to treatment. The doctor indicated that I should start the exclusive internal nutrition, also known as EEN, as the first line of therapy to treat inflammation. The EEN is a formula-based, no-solid food diet that's designed to induce remission in short term. I was to drink the formula, which were basically smoothies, for 6 to 12 weeks to give my digestive system a break. When I did EEN, I started to get a sugar withdrawal. I had low energy levels, was somewhat depressed, having some mood swings. My skin just started to change. So I started to have some eczema. I was one of those people who had several pieces of Halloween candy, Rice Krispies, Pop Tarts for breakfast, chips, cafeteria food for lunch. And I think the main reason why a lot of people end up quitting those fad diets is that they take out the sugar automatically, unlike SCD, which lets you consume natural sugars like honey, fruit, um, meat, and then some cheeses, vegetables. And it took me several months for me to go back to normal. It took me about 1 year to gain remission on the SCD diet. Today I get many comments like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you can't eat that," or "I feel sorry for you," or "You got so many problems and you can't eat that much food." But honestly, they're wrong. I can eat much more than I used to. I learned how to make delicious desserts. I'm eating healthy. Honestly, I feel bad for the food lifestyle that they're doing because you're eating all these starches and sugars, which could negatively affect them later in life. Um, Even though I was able to understand it was good for me as a teenager, it was challenging knowing that I could not have any solids. It made me hungrier. I was craving everything I could not have. It was tough to realize how food can play a really big part of your social life, like during lunchtime or school field trips, just sitting there drinking a smoothie. Because I was trying one thing at a time since I was new to the SCD diet around that time, so I didn't really have as many options. So since I drank smoothie, I would normally continue doing classwork, practicing the cello in the orchestra room. I mean, I was upset for a while, but I mean, my results came back showing normal levels, so I knew it was worth it. After 12 weeks on EEN, it was time to see my GI doctor again. My parents kept on stressing how they wanted a natural term treatment. Then she gave us the book Breaking the Vicious Cycle by Elaine Goshwell. I mean, I was not excited reading it because, a lot of foods that I used to have for breakfast or lunch were on the illegal list. So it took me a while to find the right foods. And I found the Breaking the Vicious Cycle SCD community Facebook group, which changed a lot because I was able to see a lot of people that were going through similar stuff that I was going through. Um, my first SCD illegal food that I tried after eating was scrambled eggs with salt and pepper and in an almond tortilla. My doctor allowed me one small solid thing, and I chose an almond tortilla. So I was like, well, I mean, that would go well with the eggs. So yeah, I was able to tolerate it. The experience allowed me to see prominent how food plays a really important part of our body and how fast food is basically poison. Many foods have chemicals hidden that when consumed long term can have devastating side effects on our body. And it couldn't be more of a coincidence how more people are starting to reach out with gut issues. I have been on this diet for almost 2.5 years and I do not crave any illegal foods. I have a lot of food options now. It gave me an opportunity to do international traveling. My parents would bring a big cooler with SED food um, and a letter from my GI doctor, and I haven't had any issues with customs so far. I even was able to bring a big gallon of honey with no issues. When I go to restaurants, they always let me bring their my own food. They even put in a fancy plate and bring it out the same time my family gets their order. The journey that seemed like a bad thing turned into something positive, and now I have the opportunity to help others. I got admitted to the Medical Science Academy this year. I'm currently in ninth grade. I would like to one day be a pediatric gastroenterologist and help kids like myself by introducing them into the diet early in life before more damage is done and to reassure them that life goes on, that we are not people with limitations and making sure that they get the right treatment. Through this experience, I have also recently created a TikTok account. I like to find um, IBD. I like to make it out of a fun thing. Like I like to make funny videos and um, fun videos about my experience and making it not look like a bad thing. So if you're interested in duetting or maybe we could work on some video idea, that would be cool. Today I'm planning to make a video with famous people that have IBD. I think that would be interesting. Once again, it was not easy, but it was worth it and it is possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isabella. Isabella, are you going to school in the school building or at home?
I have to take a PSAT next week, so I would have to go inside the building, but otherwise I'm not traveling and I'm staying inside the house and I'm doing online school.
And where do you live?
Houston, Texas.
Okay, great.
I will type in my TikTok account in the chat box.
Great. Any questions for Isabella? So the next person introduced is Myles Sukoff.
Yeah, my name is Miles. I'm 18 years old. I'm a college student. I live in Northern Jersey. Um, I began with, Mom, I can hear myself upstairs. Can you lower that? Test, test. Okay, sorry. They're just distracting me. So I started getting symptoms and such at like 13, 14 years old. I would have loose stool. I wouldn't grow like Jack and Ava, you guys couldn't grow. I was 96 pounds, 5'2". I didn't grow for 3 years. That's when like the doctors decided to do a blood test, and it showed like a low amount of red blood cells, high white blood cells, and I had anemia. And then more tests. I went gluten-free. That helped out a bit, but not all my symptoms. After that, just like Jack, I had a pill endoscopy. And if you don't know what that is again, you swallow a metal pill and it takes pictures inside of you so they could diagnose you. Unfortunately, it didn't come out for me. It got stuck in my small intestines and got lodged in my small intestines because of all the scar tissue and inflammation there. Because of that, my doctor put me on steroids for just 1 week to hopefully like push it out. That didn't work. Then a colonoscopy, I had too much inflammation, so they couldn't go up far enough. So I had to get surgery to take that pill out. It could have been very bad. I could have had bowel obstruction. If you put a magnet to my lower right stomach, some like severe damage could have happened. For my surgery, on top of taking the pill out, they took out inflammatory parts. Oh, and right before I took the pill, I started the SCD diet. I noticed improvement, but obviously, like Jeffrey had, I had inflammation that's just like unrepairable. So that's when I started with a fresh start with my surgery, where they took out 8.5 inches of my large intestine, 5 inches of my small intestine, my appendix to get to everywhere, and the pill itself. But like after that, I was in remission because it was a fresh start. I didn't have extra inflammation in my body that was unrepairable. At the start of the diet, we did mess up a couple times. Like my mother, she allowed coconut sugar, and she didn't know that that's against the SCD diet. But my mom, like a few of my favorite things, like SCD foods, my mom makes smoothies for me every day, like fruit. I know Jack mentioned having smoothies earlier and like mixing himself up. If you're interested in that, Mom, you can hook them up. Frozen ice cream, I have a lot. I don't know. I've been on the site for 3.5 years now, and I plan to stay on the diet until, I don't know. I just plan to stay on it. Hi, Dad. Yeah. Is anything else I miss, Mom? Doctor, she put signs all over my hospital room. Please do not feed him, because I was on my SCD diet there. She was very crazy about that. Yeah.
Any questions for Myles? Any questions from the parents of the teenagers?
Myles, we're curious how tall you are now because you look tall.
Oh yeah. I'm 5'11" now. I grew like 7 inches in a couple years after surgery. I just shot up after that, and I'm like in my 140s in weight now, so I grew like 50 pounds. That's a lot. I was in my growing stage anyways. I had delayed puberty as well, so like I was obviously smaller than all my peers, and yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Myles.
No problem. Thank you.